Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. High Court judge in Barbados throws out a case against CXC. This story takes the lead in a 1141st edition of Caribbean Perspective for Monday 28th June 2021. Details after this break.
Hubbard's big promotion is back. Live free for 1 year. Spend $50 or more in any Hubbard's department and receive a chance to win big prizes every month. Property or vehicle insurance for 1 year. Free internet, cable and data for 1 year. Free fuel for 1 year. Free cooking gas for 1 year. Free electricity for 1 year. Free drinks for 1 year. Extra cash account and the big free groceries for 1 year. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2021. Live free for 1 year with Hubbard's in association with Solgas, Flow, Grenadian General Insurance, Carib Brewery, Coca-Cola, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenlec, Communal Cooperative Credit Union, Dutch Lady Milk, Promo, Danny and Supreme. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. A High Court judge in Barbados throws out a case brought against CXC by a group of students and parents. Emmanuel Joseph of Barbados Today reports.
On Wednesday, Madam Justice Michelle Weeks ruled against the claim for judicial review of the process of CXC's 2020 exams and those pending for 2021. Emmanuel Joseph has more in this report.
After hearing arguments from CXC's legal counsel Ramon Allen QC and Richie Nichols and lawyers Brian Weeks and Lisa Weeks for the aggrieved students and parents, Justice Weeks held that the council has by law immunity from suit and all legal processes. She also ruled that the certificate of the Minister of Foreign Affairs certifying the immunity of CXC was conclusive as provided by the legislation of such immunity. This means that the court has no jurisdiction to review the actions of the regional body as it relates to its interjurisdictional obligations in the administration of the regional exams. Justice Weeks further held that CXC qualifies as an intergovernmental organization and is not an authority of the government of Barbados. The court also struck out the claim against Minister of Education Santia Bradshaw and Attorney General Dale Marshall, the second and third defendants, respectively. I'm Emmanuel Joseph for Barbados Today.
The opposition Democratic Labour Party in Barbados has welcomed the government's decision to fully open Barbados to business on July 1st. More in this Barbados Today news story.
Party President Frederick has warned the Mayor Motley administration against complacency when it comes to the travel protocols as visitors come to these shores.
The Democratic Labour Party is pleased with the progress the country has made since lapsed travel protocols and complacency in December last year resulted in a 6-month setback to our economy. As we look set to reopen the country come the 1st of July, it is hoped that the Motley-led administration has learned from the mistakes of the past and will not play fast and loose with the travel protocols going forward. Because, let's face it, Barbadians have obeyed the directives and followed the guidance of the medical practitioners. Government must now do all in its power to safeguard lives and livelihoods by keeping COVID at bay, particularly as variant strains have already shown up on our shores. We need no reminder of the enormous difficulties small and medium-sized businesses experienced during the last 6 months, particularly those related to entertainment, transport and leisure, and for whom no meaningful stimulus package has been declared. When set alongside the body blows dealt by the rising fuel prices, which impact on the cost of everything from utilities to storage and transport, and recognizing that entrepreneurs, small and medium-sized businesses contribute significantly to the provision of sustainable employment in Barbados, it is our hope that the government will recognize that simply removing the curfew is not enough.
There's regional and international news.
A total of 184 countries voted in favor of a resolution to demand the end of a U.S. embargo against Cuba.
The United States and Israel voted against the resolution during a meeting held on Wednesday at UN headquarters in New York, while 3 countries, namely Colombia, Ukraine and Brazil, abstained. Speaking before the vote, Cuban Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez Pereira said it was unacceptable that the U.S. government for 28 years ignored consecutive resolutions of the United Nations General Assembly. He said that the sanctions have made it harder for his country to acquire medical equipment needed to develop COVID-19 vaccines, as well as equipment for food production. That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas.
St. Lucia's Prime Minister Alan Chastanet says the announcement of the election date is his prerogative. Details in this HTS News Force report.
Prime Minister Alan Chastanet is unmoved by the growing calls for an election date announcement. Opposition St. Lucia Labour Party supporters through the Pan Sunday movement has urged Chastanet to call the election in keeping with convention. But the Prime Minister, who took to UWP Media on Friday afternoon to hail the scheduled resumption of cruise ship tourism, argues he has not violated the Constitution. In the recent years, elections have been conventionally called on or around the 5th anniversary of the previous poll.
The former Prime Minister used his prerogative and called the elections early. That is his prerogative. If I choose to call the elections later, but within the Constitution, that is my prerogative. So let me share something with you. You have the opposition again as a policy. So I'm not criticizing them personally. As a policy, what is their slogan? Putting people first, which we don't believe. We think it's putting politics first. Right? When does school end?
That's them, eh? When you say we.
So when does school end? July 9th. In this particular year, unlike what they did and they called elections with CXCs, this government is not going to do that. Let the children finish their school.
Chastanet, joined by Tourism Minister Dominic Fede, lamented the disruption to academic classes as a result of the pandemic. They both expressed concern about the impact on education since learning institutions will be used as polling stations.
They've been robbed so much with the pandemic.
Exactly.
I mean, look how much time they have lost, and still they are not getting enough face-to-face time.
So
and 2 days a week, 3 days a week, the other week, it really is half the time. So
And if you
the
have
average child is getting 2.5 weeks. So because of politics, we can't just go and just disrupt someone's education.
And then mirror this because of
very,
COVID.
very tough.
And because of COVID, the schools that we would be using for the elections, which we do use schools, we would have to shut the school down for a week.
Exactly.
So you would have to go in and sanitize the school from the kids, then have elections, and after the elections, then sanitize the school again before. So it's going to take you a week. Come on, that makes sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so I want solutions to know. We will have elections. Okay, I continue to say that it will be soon because relative to 5 years, whatever time is remaining would be very soon. And the appropriate time will be made that is in the best interest of this country.
The Prime Minister and the ruling United Workers' Party administration continue to question the capacity of the opposition St. Lucia Labour Party to lead the nation, citing what they claim is a lack of coherent policy and vision. According to Chastanet, his administration has delivered and deserves more time to complete its mandate.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. On Thursday last, the natural gas company in Trinidad and Tobago, the NGC, announced a $2.1 billion loss for the year 2020. In response, the United National Congress, the UNC, expressed concern, hinting at mismanagement. But the former Energy Minister Kevin Ramnarine says the loss comes as no surprise. In what he calls putting the politics aside, Ramnarine says the profits generated more than 5 years ago cannot be compared to that of present, as he believes brighter days lie ahead. Alicia Boucher has the details from Morning Edition of TV6 News.
From upstreamers such as energy giants BP and Shell to sell to downstream. The natural gas company purchases gas from upstreamers such as energy giants BP and Shell to sell to downstreamers. While the company has been profitable over the years, the margins have declined. In 2019, NGC made a profit of $482 million, and in 2020, a loss of $2.1 billion. That loss was attributed in part to provisions for exceptional items specific to 2020 at a cost of $4.2 billion. But even with that said, UNC Shadow Minister for Energy David Lee has pointed to mismanagement. However, former Energy Minister Kevin Ramnarine, in giving what he refers to as a technocratic perspective, says the loss could have been anticipated.
Well, it's no secret 2020 was a difficult year for everybody in the energy sector globally. So I would like to start off with that. The company's revenues fell to $11.4 billion in 2020. Now that might seem like a lot of money, but we have to put that into perspective. In 2020, in 2014, which is 6 years ago, the NGC's revenue was $23.5 billion. So we're looking at a twofold decrease.
Ramnarine says that decrease has to do with changes in the energy sector as it relates to the production and sale of natural gas.
That business has been, in decline. The amount of gas that the NGC has available to sell has come down by a factor of about 19% over the last 5 years. And that's because there's less gas being produced by the upstream suppliers of the NGC.
Added to that, ammonia and methanol prices fell significantly by more than 50% in some instances amid the pandemic. Ramnarine also notes that the cost of acquiring natural gas from upstreamers has increased over the past 5 years. As for the exceptional items specific to 2020, Ramnarine says this may have to do with the impairment of contracts and impairment of the cost of the evaluation of the NGC's pipeline network. He adds that more details on these issues would come from the releasing of the annual report.
I think the NGC will return to profitability in 2021. Maybe not the kind of astronomical profitability we used to have in the past, but I think that there are some bright spots on the horizon, one of which is that the price of ammonia and methanol are as very good at this point in time. Ammonia prices are about $500 a ton, and I think methanol prices in Asia are around $350 a ton.
He's also forecasting that natural gas production would improve closer to the fourth quarter of this year, heading into 2022. According to Ramnarine, only time would tell whether it would be an adequate boost for the company and by extension, the country. He says while TNTEC's inability to pay the NGC for natural gas, even at a subsidized rate, would have been overshadowed in the past by the NGC's large profit margins, the problem is a significant one.
The cheap electricity that we enjoy in Trinidad is mainly as a result of the NGC intervening in the whole commercial structure of electricity to subsidize natural gas to TNTEC. And that is something which, at some point in time, is going to have to be dealt with.
Ramnarine says about 20% of the NGC's gas is sold to TNTEC below the purchase price. TNTEC then sells electricity to its consumers around 1/3 of what it would cost at the lowest unsubsidized rate. Alicia Boucher, TV6 News.
Did you know that your friends and family can now shop at the Food Fair from anywhere in the world, and you can receive here in Grenada? The Food Fair and GrenadaMarket.com now makes it possible through secure online shopping and personalized customer service. Simply send your loved ones a list of your preferred items or let them fill an online basket, and the items will be available for pickup or delivery. Visit GrenadaMarket.com or thefoodfair.gd today for more details. The new norm. Spread the news.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.